And welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters live from Singapore as part of the Singapore Expo. We're here towards Christmas. There's lots of stuff going on outside in Singapore. They've got snow and snowmen and Christmas, Father Christmas in the street. It's amazing. And yet it's still like 80 degrees Fahrenheit and 85% humidity. It's an incredible country. I really do love it down here. We have more action coming for you next from StarCraft 2, of course. We're going to continue on our way through the qualifying phase. We're going to go through our second stage. Let's show you the bracket and how we've got there right now, because we have had some monumental results so far. Hopefully that bracket can go up in just a moment. There we go. As we just confirmed, Curious coming back from a map down to win 2-1 in the upper bracket. That confirms Curious's place in the round of 16. There are 2 spots left. One of them will come from the bottom bracket. Dream is waiting in that bottom bracket final for the winner of our next game. We've also got a third place game coming up, which will feature one of these 3 men and Avenge. So, time to introduce you to our next 2 players. This one to stay alive at the Intel Extreme Masters, and 2 men who are very capable of going a lot further, that's for sure. Please welcome to the stage our first player from CJ Entus, EffOrt. And he goes head-to-head with a bit of an old warrior, frankly. That's right, from Team Evil Geniuses, Oz. And as we've said before already, these 2 are going to fight their way through for one last chance at a place in the round of 16. They might just get another chance if they can win this match alone, but this one is win or you're out. And that's it, you're done at the Intel Extreme Masters on day 1. Remember, we have 3 more days of action coming your way. It's time to go over to our commentators for this one. Chaps, enjoy.
Thanks very much, Paul. Welcome to the Caster's Desk here for Oz versus EffOrt. And I'm quite excited for this one, I gotta say, because Oz is a player that during his run through WCS America, etc., and then qualifying into those season finals, has shown us a lot of good games. And then you've got a player like EffOrt who, in StarCraft 1 was really, really well known, but in StarCraft 2 hasn't really done so much. So yeah. I'm curious to see what he's going to actually bring to the table.
If you think about it, Oz is the opposite of that. I mean, in Brood War he was pretty good, yeah. But it's really in StarCraft 2 that, in my opinion, he had some great results in a lot of tournaments, and he's one of those guys that works very hard on his build orders and strategies, even more so than some other players, in a way that's he has a very unique play style. He likes to develop his own build orders, sometimes go for something special depending on the maps. Mm-hmm. He was one of the first few players to go for like quick third bases and things like that versus Terran versus Zerg when nobody else was doing it. So now we're gonna find out today what he has in store for us, what he has prepared versus Zerg, because he has to bring his A game to this match right here if he wants to be able to qualify.
Yeah, he certainly does. And you know, EffOrt here, representing CJ Entus. CJ Entus is just in general well represented at this tournament, and CJ Entus is becoming one of those teams that's extremely formidable in StarCraft 2. Again, with Hero and Hydra actually qualifying through the Korean qualifier itself, with EffOrt falling a little bit earlier on in the qualifier. He did defeat Myunzik, who was one of the Intel Extreme Masters kind of heroes trying to go through. We saw him at Shanghai, but didn't quite deliver there. We'll see what EffOrt wants to bring as well. He already got rid of Polar Knight, and Oz getting rid of Whirlwind. I'm not really too surprised by these, to be honest. Oh wait, Polar Knight for the Zerg. I'm kind of surprised by that. I'm taking back everything, Todd.
Maybe something's wrong. If EffOrt removes Derek Watcher, I think we can assume this is upside down, but no, he removes Akilon, which makes sense. So I guess personal preferences there. Maybe EffOrt didn't practice as much on Polar Knights as the other Zergs. Maybe he plays more custom games than Ladder, because if that were the case, then that would explain a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Both players are going to shake hands and walk back to the booth. I like Oz's shorts, man.
You like Oz's shorts?
It's very Protoss fashion style.
Is there a specific style for Protoss?
If you look really good and you dress well, you're a Protoss for sure.
Would you attribute Hyun's pant style to the style of Zerg?
They are not very swarmy, but they'll do for the Zerg style.
They'll do. They're very comfortable in their ways. We'll go with that. Well, EffOrt here. Again, you know, being in a house, practicing with the likes of Hydra, etc. It's got to give you a good basis here to go up against a player like Oz. I mean, watching Hydra plow his way through the Korean qualifiers was an absolute spectacle. It was very, very cool to watch him do that. But I have personally not been able to see as many games of EffOrt. You know, he's been he's been active in Pro League. But aside from that, we don't really see him too much.
And Snoot was staying in the CJ house, right?
Yes, he was.
So maybe he's gonna he learned from Snoot, and we're gonna see something very Snoot-ish style here out of EffOrt. I mean, if you live with someone, you're practicing next to them every day, it's always going to affect the way you play. So sometimes it might not be as obvious as just watching a game and being like, oh my god, he just took that from this one player. But sometimes you're going to be able to see some traits in the way somebody's playing, even if it's not the exact same strategy. And I mean, Snoot is very good versus every race and overall, so who knows? We might recognize some of those things. I have to say I'm not particularly familiar with EffOrt as I am with Oz. And when I say I'm familiar with Oz, I mean that he could literally be doing anything here. That's what I know about him, because this guy has a lot of build orders, and usually they are very specific to him too. It's like, no matter how evolved the game is, how evolved the metagame is, and sometimes you're even going to see the same builds over and over again, this guy always comes out with something new.
I mean, for Oz, he's actually been at the Intel Extreme Masters quite a bit. We saw him at the start of this season playing a lot in Shanghai, and there he had to play a lot of Zergs, and he absolutely obliterated them up until the point where he got to the grand final, where he was against his teammate Revival, who in turn obliterated Oz in very convincing fashion. I remember watching those games and casting them actually, but that's by the by. The point is that Oz, he crumbled under that pressure.
Don't you feel that Oz is really hit or miss when it comes down to playing well or not? Sometimes he plays super well and he can beat anybody, but then another time he's very inconsistent.
I have
to really felt like that in the Intel Extreme Masters Shanghai, in which he lost to Revival in finals. He was crushing everyone before that. He had some of the most impressive games I had seen versus Hero, and then out of nowhere he loses 4-0 in a matchup he's supposed to be pretty good at.
I mean, that's even evident in what I would say was his amazing PvP at the beginning of his StarCraft career, where he was like, I can beat any Protoss ever. And then he started doing Nexus first, and I was like, I don't think this is going to work, Oz.
Pushed it a little bit too far.
Yeah. So I do think that there are those hit and miss tendencies, maybe because of confidence, maybe because of over-eagerness to do what he wants to do, his own style. But regardless, guys, let's get into game number 1, as we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner even, I should say, as our red Protoss. He is Evil Genius's Oz. And up to the top right-hand corner, we have our blue Zerg representing CJ Entus. He is EffOrt.
EffOrt now on your screen, looking very focused. And what I'm most interested about early on in this game, are we going to see a gateway expand? Are we going to see a forge expand? It looks like he also wants to throw down a Pynon at his ramp, which will mean a gateway. And Protosses have been doing very well with this these days. There is a build order that looks definitely stronger than the others.
Yeah.
With which SOS, Deer, and Naniwa have been very successful with, which is just basically going for a forge at some point early on, before or after a Stargate, getting +1, and then once this is halfway through dawn, you get a Twilight Council, you get +2 plus Blink as soon as +1 finishes, and then you go for a quick third. And with that, you're able to get a lot of Blink Stalkers. They are good against everything, except maybe versus Ling only style with double Evo. But even then, you can transition into anything from Blink Stalkers. And later on, you can choose to go into Colossus, into heavy pressure, like Naniwa did versus Revival when they played for the qualification for BlizzCon. So I wouldn't be surprised if Oz plays something like this. But then again, like as I said before, trying to predict what this guy is going to do can be very tricky.
Yeah, it certainly can be. Personally, I love the Blink style that you're referring to. I think that, you know, it gives a player that is very confident in their control a lot of opportunity to trade very cost effectively. And that's something that I really love watching. Watching someone who has brilliant blink control and just like not losing a single stalker and then blinking back. But in turn, you see a lot of Zergs that recognize that there is that power for someone behind it and trying to flank around, trying to get into these better positions. So it can come. It can get a little bit interesting when you go to those engagements.
And I think with this strategy too, like there's a lot of things you can do. You can play more passively if you want to tech a lot behind the original Blink and +2. If you want to tech into Storm plus Colossus, for example, you have the opportunity to go for big gateway pressure. After you take your third base, you can go up to 10 gates, 12 gates, go for huge Blink and Stalker attacks. And the thing is, there's a lot of things you can do well, as far as force fields, hallucination, time warp, recall, movement with your mothership core out on the map. So Oz is definitely one of those guys that's going to be good at all those things. But he's against EffOrt here, who's a very good player himself. Okay, I'm actually surprised he plays the gate here. I would definitely think that if you're going to go for a wall here, the entrance or the exit or both
has to be on the bottom.
Yeah, on the bottom.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, definitely.
I mean, as we mentioned, Oz definitely a player of his own style here. And wow, EffOrt. He went for a gas 14, pull 14. I'm very surprised by this. This means that he's going to have speed at 5 minutes, 5 o'clock basically, 5 minutes around this time. In which case, if you play Protoss and you go either Forge Expand or Gateway Expand in a greedy way, like without a Zealot and without a wall-in, you can take a lot of damage or die. But Oz, he's scouting behind this. So he might be able to see exactly what he's up against, in which case, I mean, you wall off and you're completely fine.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't really like this here by EffOrt. So against somebody like Oz, this is going to be really hit and miss. And this time I do think he's going to miss because if Oz scouts this, he's going to be ready almost every single time. But the thing is, Oz didn't take a gas here. He's getting a Zealot and he's going to go for a quick Nexus. So this could be a little bit dangerous here if he's not careful. And this is actually a build order that we've seen Squirtle do a lot recently. He has two build orders. One of them is the standard gateway opener with the gas. The other one is this one, where you go for the Zealot, you make the Nexus, and then you take double gas.
It's like a little nicer economy opener here from Oz, as opposed to just going for Cybernetics core and trying to get yourself comfortable with that. But as you mentioned, it does come with its own little risks. This probe does end up dying, so now we'll have to send out another probe to see a third base or anything.
Yeah, you're not supposed to lose the probe at this point. Yeah. I mean, he saw that there was the spawning pool up, he saw that there was enough gas mine for speed to start. He should have just gotten out of there. Now he's going to try to wall and basically leave his Zealot in his wall to make sure he basically doesn't die or take any damage, and he should be able to do that before speed finishes. But the thing is, his Cybernetics core is so late that he's not going to have any Stalker or Mothership core very soon. So those Lings could do some damage.
Yeah, he was a wall actually
they can get in
good. There's two Lings sneaking around.
Oh, nice wall by Oz at his ramp.
Yeah, that is actually really well positioned. And, well, there's going to be a few more Lings out here to hinder any progresses at this natural. So, and they're going to get over there very, very quickly. He's trying to find... Oh! He actually slipped straight past that probe. That caught me a little off guard there, I must admit.
Speed is 20 seconds away from finishing. 8 more Zerglings on the way here by EffOrt. The natural expansion was completely walled off. Those 4 Zerglings in the main are going to try to snipe a pylon, but 2 Zealots will deny that.
He's building way more Zerglings.
Yeah. I think he realized that he has a window during which he can make this work because, like I said, the Cybernetics core was so late. Now it's going to take forever to get a sentry, and I guess the Mothership core will come in very quickly, but look at his pylon, he's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, exactly. He actually needs to reinforce that behind it somehow. That sentry is about to come out, but has to bring one of the Zealots from the front here.
Oh, and the pylon dies before the sentry comes out.
The sentry doesn't get out. Uh-oh, not good here. Not good for Oz, as the wall is going to be breached very, very quickly. That pylon's going to go down, as is the Zealot. He needs to wall off at the top of his ramp.
And he does, but Photon Overcharge is not ready. 65 energy on that Mothership core. Oz is taking a lot of damage. His second gateway is going to be unpowered now.
If that sentry had gone out, this could have been a lot different. But now the natural is under siege. And he even sent some of the Lings up to the top here. It's 25 Harvesters against 14 in favor of Oz. But if he doesn't hold against these Lings, he might just die. That one sentry finally gets out thanks to that pylon. But he kills the natural. Fantastic.
He needs to rewall. He does rewall behind this, but the Cybernetics core is going to die. And Warp Gates. Warwick production is going to be halted here. Behind this EffOrt, if he just drones up, which is exactly what he's doing, he's going to be in a great position.
Losing the Cybernetics core here as well to these Lings is just a catastrophe. Trying to wall all of this off, but Oz is really up against it. He has to build these walls. He has to keep himself defended. The Mothership core is probably accruing quite a lot of kills here, but the Cybernetics core dying puts him back so far.
18 kills on the Mothership core, but I mean, what is it going to matter at this point? Oz suffered huge damages. He only lost 2 probes, but since his expansion is going to be delayed this much now, the worker count is going to completely take off for EffOrt. He's actually trying to get back in there. Nice force field. He's going to prevent that, but
he only has Zealots coming out right now. He doesn't have any more sentries. He keeps having to wall again and again and again.
Actually, the one sentry that has started before all this.
Sneaky.
The Pioneer sentry is going to be restarted, continued here upon repowering the gateway. So as soon as this finishes, he's going to start chrono boosting out warp gates, but I really don't like the position of Ozzy, obviously. It's going to take him forever to be able to re-expand. In the meantime, EffOrt taking a third base, getting the Roach Warren, starting to mine gas as well now.
He's flying, man. He's absolutely flying. I mean, that third base with the Roach Warren as well. He's even making a few more links to deny this third, to deny the natural even, for as long as possible. Admittedly, this is going to turn into some like weird old-school sentry expand, but...
He's flying.
He's not quite flying anymore. Poor little Oz. Oh, well.
So, okay. Oz going remaking the Nexus as expected. He has to re-wall the ramp. I'm actually surprised he's not being a little bit more careful here. Another wave of Zerglings could have been very dangerous. We actually have Zerglings movement in the middle of the map. And Oz is definitely going to be flying himself because he's getting a Stargate behind this. Does he go for Phoenixes? I think going for an Oracle here would be kind of useless. You can always expect your opponent to be ready for it.
Do you think that...
EffOrt has a Queen on every base, and he could have...
Tries to slip on in here once again. Those sentries very low. One of them does end up dying, but the rest have walled themselves
They're going to die too.
Yeah, I mean, they can't get away, right?
This is a big deal. Oh, it's going to recall. But he doesn't have a wall up just yet, so he's going to have to basically stay at his ramp. And the Zerglings, they might get some damage done.
He's actually going for Oracle, but do you think the time for Stargate units has kind of passed here? I don't see them doing anything.
I mean, if there is only one Queen on the third, or, I mean, on natural, which it is right now, and EffOrt doesn't have a Spore on time, which he wants, I guess he could kill a bunch of drones with this one Oracle, and it could be a way to come back. But, I mean, if you look at it, it's like 55 drones against 33 probes. If EffOrt lose like 10 drones, he can remake 15 and still be okay.
But how do you defend against wave after wave after wave of roaches?
You wall off your natural.
And get a Void Ray and hope.
Yeah, actually, this is very smart. The one Void Ray, you don't have to commit too much to it, and it's really going to help versus roaches. Look at this Oracle, man.
Doing all right for itself, gotta say. 9 kills, 10 kills.
Wow, and just like that, Oz is back to 37 probes against 42 drones. And, well, EffOrt, he knows he has to get a Spore in each base. I wouldn't be surprised if he drones quite heavily to get back in it behind this. But right now, he's not actually making drones. Okay, he's making them very slowly.
It's just going to be a massive Roach Hydra push, right? Surely, from this point on, as long as he sets himself up.
He's getting one Evolution Chamber now. I think if EffOrt... I mean, he has a lot of options there. He could have committed more to roaches with Burrow and something like that, because there is no Robo.
But I'm kind of surprised he's actually gone with this number of roaches, because his opponent had the gateways up, you know, still churning away at units for a while. This has done nothing.
Look at this Mothership Core, man. What
doing well for itself. Wow, how much? 26 kills?
What a boss.
Executor. Anyway.
And there's a second Oracle out on the map. The original one is going to fly into the main. Oh, the Spore. He has to get out. There's the second one on the top left-hand side of the map. And this one has done so much work. 12 drone kills already. He's going to get out of there as well.
Sick.
The Mothership Core is actually chasing roaches in the middle of the map. That's not something you see every day.
She's got all the kills in the world. May as well get a few more, right? I mean,
she?
It's a Mothership Core. It's got to be a she.
I'm glad you finally picked up on this.
No, this isn't your influence. Anyway, a few more roaches in production. Even the Groove Spine's going down just to, get a bit aggressive with those Hydras. Actually, Muscular Augments I think would be really good if he wants to get aggressive with it.
And we talked about this. When you have the Mothership Core with this much energy, you have sentries ready to force field. It's almost always good to move across the map, put some pressure on. If you get in trouble, you can always recall. And with great force fields, you're going to do well. You're going to be able to trade sometimes energy for units, even though they are pretty cheap. They are roaches most of the time. It's always a good thing to do. And Oz, he knows that. He knows he has a lot of sentries. He knows his opponent is probably trying to drone a whole bunch before going to units. So he's trying to force units right now. And I really like this move out by Oz here.
Yeah, I think...
I don't mean this drop out
of the game.
I like the way he moved out on the map to put some pressure on.
I too like this move out, so we have to resume from replay. Thanks, Todd. Thanks. But no, we're going to be hopefully doing that in just a little bit, as Oz looks as if he's going to drop from this game. But still, this is kind of all to play for. I didn't really expect Oz to make quite the meal out of it that he has done, because EffOrt looked in a very advantageous position. But by the same token, I wasn't a big fan of EffOrt's push with the roaches, and that really didn't do too much.
Yeah, I was very skeptical about the Oracle. We talked about it. We both thought that it was too late for the Stargate units to come in, but I guess we learned something. It's never too late.
It's never too late for the new speedy Oracle.
Get an Oracle.
Wait, this doesn't rhyme. This is rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, no, but this is not supposed to rhyme. You're supposed to say what's good when you're behind.
Okay.
So it used to be Dark Templars. Then Cass, the great philosopher from Ukraine, told us that when behind you need to make Storm versus Terran, and he was right. And now when behind you get an Oracle.
Okay.
And you kill 12 drones and you get back in it.
There you go. But what if he'd made those spores earlier and then he didn't get those drone kills? But
then you listen to Cass and you get Storm.
Yeah.
Or you listen to Huck and you get a Dark Shrine.
Okay. Well,
anything's possible, James.
Anything is possible in this game called StarCraft. All right, guys. Well, we're going to cut to a small commercial break before we get back into this. Reason being is we have 1 or 2 issues, technical issues with the booths. So when you join us back here for the Intel Extreme Masters, we'll have more action from Oz and EffOrt.